There's two types of camera shots, basically. These are just terms that I came up with, but you have stationary camera shots and you have moving camera shots. So the stationary camera shots mean that your camera is just in a fixed place. You have an establishing shot, you have a variety of close-up shots, medium shots, and long shots. And I want you to start thinking about, when you're laying out your idea for your scene, how you're going to, what you need, which type of camera shot you need. Sometimes you're going to want very, very close up when you just have two people talking and it's very intimate, whatever, you're going to be definitely doing the close up. But you might want a character far enough away so that they can only see and presume what is going on in a more long shot type of situation, and you have to be faithful to that point of view. So in other words, if you have a character that's 100 yards away, they're not going to be able to see the sweat on somebody's face or hear a whisper. So you have to be careful that you are faithful to where your camera is stationed. And of course your camera is basically is the head of the point of view character. It's in that person's head, right? Or it could be omniscient or something. But anyway, so the first stationary shot we're going to look at is the establishing shot. And this is really very important. With a TV show or a movie, the establishing shot will last maybe 3 seconds. A lot of times all it is a quick glimpse of the setting, and it's basically to establish where you are. And while this seems very obvious, way too often fiction writers don't spend any time establishing the setting. They jump right into dialogue, and it goes on for pages, and you're going, where are these people? I don't see where they're at. I don't see the location. I'm actually doing a critique right now where that's kind of like every page. Okay, where are these people? So you want to make sure that you do this little brief establishing shot. And sometimes you can get away with using a little bit of omniscient point of view with establishing shots. It is acceptable. It's not a lot of people, writers do that, but you can. I have an example from a David Baldacci novel. This is the opening of his novel, Sixth Man. And take a look at how the beginning starts with sort of an omniscient point of view, and then it segues right into the character's point of view. But this is to establish the setting. When I say setting, it doesn't necessarily mean nature or a name of a town or a building. The setting can be, wherever the where is for your character. Okay, could be in a bathtub or whatever. Okay. The small jet bumped down hard on the runway in Portland, Maine. It rose up in the air and banged down again harder. Even the pilot was probably wondering if he could keep the 25-ton jet on the tarmac. Because he was trying to beat a storm in, the young aviator made his approach at a steeper trajectory and a faster speed than the airline's manual recommended. The wind shear cuffed off the leading edge of the cold front had caused the jet swings to pendulum back and forth. The co-pilot had warned the passengers that the landing would be bumpy and a bit more than uncomfortable. He'd been right. One man, however, merely woke when the plane transitioned off the runway and onto the taxiway to the small terminal. The tall, dark-haired woman sitting next to him idly stared out the window, completely unfazed by the turbulent approach and bouncy touchdown. After they arrived at the gate and the pilot shut down the twin GE turbofans, Sean Kind and Michelle Maxwell rose and grabbed their bags from the overhead. As they threaded out through the narrow aisle along with the other deplaning passengers, a queasy-looking woman behind them said, "Boy, that sure was a rough landing." Sean looked at her, yawned, and massaged his neck. Was it? So you see how that was opened with an omniscient point of view, because of course Sean, who is the point of view character for that scene, he doesn't really know about the airline's manual and what it recommends, and he doesn't know, some of these other, that the co-pilot had been warned, or had been warning the passengers or whatever. The main point is that if you're going to use an omniscient opening for a scene or your book, you want to keep it pretty brief and just use that. You could start with like a hawk circling in the air and it's the hawk's point of view and it lands on a fence, and then you have your character, you slip into your character's point of view as she's like, feeding the hawk or something. So, you're allowed to do that, but for the most part, establishing shots are going to be in your point of view character's view and showing where they are from out of their eyes. So one thing that's really important about establishing shots is they really need to set the tone and the feel for the scene. And that's something, again, that filmmakers do very well with mood and music and lighting. But since we don't have that with our fiction, we have to do that with our words. So here's a little bit from the opening of Jurassic Park, which talks about, he starts with a few paragraphs of backstory about northern Montana and where they're doing this archaeological dig. And it says, then, he stood, a barrel-chested, bearded man of 40. He heard the chugging of the portable generator and the distant clatter of the jackhammer cutting into the dense rock on the next hill. He saw the kids working around the jackhammer, moving away the big pieces of rock after checking them for fossils. At the foot of the hill, he saw 6 teepees of his camp, the flapping mess tent, and the trailer that served as their field laboratory. And he saw Ellie waving to him from the shadow of the field laboratory. So from there, Ellie yells that there's a visitor, and then a truck comes in. And he doesn't spend pages describing this scene, right? This is just one paragraph. He establishes the scene of this dig, and he uses some good sensory details, mostly sound. He's got a flapping mess tent. He's got jackhammers working away. There's a clatter of the jackhammer. So that's basically all you need. So you don't need to go on for pages and pages to describe your establishing shot. You just want to do that, little clip. If you remember, like, I don't know why I always think of the Love Boat. I always picture that old show, The Love Boat. They always show a picture of the Love Boat, and then you'd be on the Love Boat. Or they'd show the manor, Downton Abbey. They'd show the beautiful manor, and then you go in. So the purpose of that establishing shot is to establish your setting. So be sure that you do that. Here's just one paragraph. If you think it's hard to set a mood with just one paragraph, John le Carré's Constant Gardener is one of my favorite books, but I just picked a random chapter in the middle of his book, and this is the opening paragraph to this particular chapter. I'm hearing a high-pitched squeal in my ear, but I don't know if you guys are hearing that. Okay, it's probably just me. The mountains stood black against the darkening sky, and the sky was a mess of racing cloud, perverse island winds, and February rain. The snake road was strewn with pebbles and red mud from the sodden hillside. Sometimes it became a tunnel of overhanging pine branches, and sometimes it was a precipice with a free fall to the steaming Mediterranean 1,000 feet below. He would make a turn, and for no reason the sea would rise in a wall in front of him, only to fall back into the abyss as he made another. But no matter how many times he turned, the rain came straight at him, and when it struck the windscreen, he felt the Jeep wince under him like an old horse no longer fit for heavy pulling. Now, this is a part of the book where he's trying to figure out whether his wife has been murdered. He's running into all kinds of problems. It's becoming very dangerous. He doesn't know whether he's going to succeed. So you can see by this paragraph that it really reflects his mood, and actually it's sort of a metaphor for his situation. I mean, you have words like black, darkening, perverse, rain, snake, sodden, tunnel, precipice. All these imply this mood of how dangerous and difficult this journey is for him. And he's kind of like this old horse that isn't responding, and he's not getting the answers.